Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Arena STL here on the Fuse Sports Network. Boy, it is amazing what this. I thought this show would be from the beginning of the Arena Football League season to the end of the 2024 season. Talk about a lot of ups and downs, craziness, kicking one guy out, bringing back one in. It's just been crazy here. But in order, before we go into the Arena Bowl 33 and also into the first playoffs into the Arena League, we're going to talk about the Indoor Football League. And here, as my special guest, I have here in our Field Sports Network, host of the Jersey the King show, Kevin Womble.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing, Will?
I'm doing good, man, and it's just amazing how the whole Arena Bowl atmosphere is here because some have ended and some are starting their playoffs, including the Indoor Football League. And I have to remind
Yeah.
people, for those who haven't, the Indoor Football League is the longest out of all the indoor football leagues. And if the NFL has their way, which if someone's seen the talks this or the news of rumors, that could happen to have an 18-week season like the Indoor Football League has.
Which would actually be pretty good. Well, the indoor football league season actually is 19 weeks
Okay, 19. Doubt that's going to happen
because
with
of
the
the bye
NFL, but,
weeks.
well, they'll count the bye week on there. But, man, and it's kind of interesting here because you cover the Vegas Nighthawks. They're one of the newer
Yes.
franchises that came in. This is their third season, and for their third season, this is their first time in their franchise history to get into the playoffs.
Yes, sir. And we are excited, man. We are definitely excited and we're ready to go. Um, we've played Arizona this season multiple times and we've beat them. So we have an opportunity to have I guess you can say, season three-peat against them and make our way to the semifinals of the playoffs. I'm looking forward to this game because I know Arizona is going to come out strong, just like they've done in both the games in the regular season. They're going to come out strong. So we have to be prepared. Their running game is really good. Their passing game is decent. Their defense is decent. We have to be prepared. We had a little bit of a hiccup in the first game against them, and then ended up having a really good second half. You know what I mean? And taking that not so great second quarter, because it was really the second quarter that kind of beat us up in that game in the first meeting with Arizona with the Rattlers. But that second quarter also motivated us to go into halftime and come out and have a better second half. Now, in the second game, which I was able to attend, Arizona was really doing their thing running the ball. They were passing the ball pretty well, and their quarterback was doing a lot of RPO and getting a lot of yards. So we have to pay attention to that because that's one of the games that we could have lost, and we'd be looking at playing in Arizona and not in Vegas.
Yeah, because this is the season because you do know, as we all cover different types of football, and this is the
Right.
year where one division is just so close, and that's how it was
Yeah,
for the Western Conference. And it was
definitely.
kind of because there were just so many scenarios, like not even last week, but the week before, of Vegas win this team needs to lose here, and all that stuff,
Right. The playoff
because
scenarios was really, really close in the West. In the East, it was more, who's looking for third and fourth and solidifying their position lower in the playoff seeding. But the West, like you said, it was really, really close.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, number one is, of course, the defending champions, the Bay Area Panthers. And for those that have
Yes.
seen previous shows of it, that is Marshawn Lynch's team.
Yes. And we are
Uh,
1-1 against them this season. We
so,
beat them
yeah,
in San Jose, and then they came to Henderson here they came out to Vegas, well, here in Henderson, and beat us at home at Lee's Family Forum. It was a close game, and the loss here at home. But the crazy thing is, in that win against them in the first game, we blew them out. Like blew them out. They scored maybe 29 points, 30 points. We had like 62. So it was a very different game when Bay Area came to Vegas. So we're looking to play them again and make it to the championship. So we're looking to meet them for a third time this season as well in the semifinals. Just saying.
Yeah, of course, it's also interesting too because this is a new franchise, and usually by the third year, there's usually a different head coach. And the Vegas Nighthawks hired head coach Mike Davis, and before this, he was actually the head coach of the Nebraska Danger. How has he like started from like year one to year three? Because I know the first season was 6-10, the second season was 5-10, but like, what were the expectations for the Nighthawks? From the beginning of year to now, what is actually happening to their first playoff berth in franchise history?
Well, see, the thing is, when it comes to Coach Mike Davis, he has been able to get his players to buy in what he's selling as far as what he wants to do and where he wants to take this team. And it's shown from year one. Yeah, we went 6-10 the first year, 5-10 the second year, but if or 5-11, excuse me, the second year. But if you look at what he's done in this third year, we have two rookies at defensive back and linebacker, or no, at defensive back, excuse me, and Bryce Hampton and James Caesar, who have been on a tear when it comes to interceptions. He's believed in his rookies. He's believed in his young players. He's believed in his quarterbacks, Jorge Reina and Jerome Johnson. He's believed in his wide receivers. And CJ Wyndham has been going on a tear in the last few games as well. So the thing with Mike Davis is he's able to get those players to rally behind him, and he's able to rally behind his players from what they're showing on the field. You get what I mean? So the franchise has decided to stick with him as the head coach and GM because of what he's been able to do with this franchise and turn this team around from the first two seasons. Now we're a winning franchise, and we have the opportunity to not only have we made the playoffs for the first time in franchise history, but if you don't know, the IFL National Championship game is being held in Vegas or in Henderson at Lee's Family Forum last year, this year, and next year. There's currently a 3-year contract with Lee's Family Forum to host the IFL Championship game. So you got to imagine how big of a deal this is for Vegas. What's going on, Rick? Welcome in, brother. How you got to imagine how big of a deal this is for Las Vegas and for Henderson to not only be in the playoffs for the first time in franchise history, but have the opportunity to host the IFL National Championship game this season.
Yeah, it kind of sounds familiar to another team that in a different league that happens here, but unfortunately that was unsuccessful. And
Yeah.
yeah, because like I remember that they were still held in Vegas, and I have to remind everyone because in arena football world, Vegas was actually the hot spot for the original Arena Bowls back in the years there,
Yeah.
and I'll say this: Vegas has come a very big hot sports bed in the last few years, getting all the
Yes,
pro
sir.
teams here. Though I prefer you guys getting an expansion MLB team, not the A's, because that whole ownership situation. And then, of course, I would not be surprised
Well,
in a few years you get it's gonna happen at NBA franchise. It's gonna happen.
the ownership in the MLB may change. I'll keep you all up to date on that on the Jersey the King show.
Yeah, do that because I believe.
Just giving you a little bit of a future news take to think about. You know, the ownership of the Athletics may change when they move to Vegas. They're moving here in 2028. In the meantime, they're going to be playing at the Sacramento AAA team baseball field starting next season. So when they move to Vegas after their new stadium is built, ownership may change.
I'm hoping
Just
for
saying.
that. I'm hoping for that. It's similar to what happened with in the National Hockey League, where the Coyotes are now in Utah. Now they're owners of this Utah Jazz and stuff, and that's the best thing because, dear Lord, the best way for sports teams to thrive is actually have good ownership, right
Right, but
ownership.
listen. The thing I am so upset about with this Utah Hockey Club is the fact that they had at least a year to get with the fans and the citizens of the city
Hmm.
to or the state for that matter to pick a team name. Like they're the Utah Hockey Club for their first season. That is horrible. I'm so upset with that. I'm so upset with that. But
Yeah,
that's for another show at another
yeah.
time. But
Yeah, unfortunately, the Washington Football Club is probably why what happened with that whole deal. Unfortunately, that said, a stupid trend. I'm sorry to say. Now back
yeah,
to arena ball here, because you mentioned Bryce Hampton, because that's also a big story here, because he's a local guy. I actually have a snippet of the interview that he did just a few days ago. Let me play that here.
And so, like, you guys are going to the playoffs. You've known that for a while, but now that you guys are on the cusp of it, how do you describe that feeling?
I mean, we feel comfortable. I don't want to say comfortable, but we feel good about going into the playoffs. With a win, it's a good feeling to go in the playoffs with a win. It builds confidence.
Yeah, and on top of that, you guys get the 2-seed and going to host a playoff game as well. To be able to do it in front of home fans, what's that mean to you guys?
I'm from Vegas, so it means a lot to me personally. Just come back to my own city, be able to play in the playoffs for the first time in franchise history with Vegas Nighthawks. So it's a good feeling.
And Arizona, early impressions on them. That's who you guys going to be facing.
I don't even know if that's who we're playing for sure. Is that who we're playing for
That's
sure?
what was announced, right? Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Take it like another game. I know we played them 3 times, so go with the game plan, stick with the game plan. I think we'll be all right.
Malik, you guys came into this game knowing you were playoff bound, but with a chance to secure home field. Your interception at the end kind of felt like the closing salvo. Did it feel good to put an exclamation point on this one?
Did it feel like that? I honestly was just trying to play, like for real. I've been telling the guys all week, or my family, my close friends. One of my best friends passed away. Long live Chef Shotty Boy. So I've been telling his parents, everybody that I'm gonna ball out from this week. So that's what I did.
We've heard the guys say it a few times this season. I think I saw some shirts today. New Vegas. What does New Vegas mean?
I wasn't here in the past, so I can't really speak too much on the past. But it's New Vegas. We got a new team. Things are running for us, so we're here. It's us.
Yeah, one of the better storylines, of course.
yes,
He
sir.
helped get home field advantage with that late interception, and
And that's
hopefully
Malik Hausman. That's Malik
yes.
Hausman. That's actually not Bryce Hampton. That's Malik Hausman.
Man, dear Lord, I wonder why I didn't say that, but we'll go with Houseman here because it's good for like a local guy because play for a local
Yeah.
team and cause stuff because to kind of go like compare stuff where I'm from. That's of course similar to David Freese in the World Series back in 2011, and
Right.
it. eh,
I know that was like an amazing feeling for not only the fans but him as well. To be playing in the World Series and representing your home team.
Yeah, and it's just amazing how that's happened. And hey, Arden, what's up, man?
Hey, Train, what's going on, sir? CEO of Fuel Sports Network. You already know.
Host of the A Train Show here on Fuel Sports Network. Be sure to join him. I'm pretty sure he has a show tomorrow, and also with his wrestling show here on Fridays. And it because I like these type of stories here. First time a franchise show get some local guys here, and
Yeah.
like what is probably the best storyline is for a local guy, not only just helping get into home field advantage, but maybe also cause for the team to get their first championship in franchise
Oh,
history.
yeah. Malik Hausman has played very well this season. He's been a force on defense. He's helped as well with James Caesar and Bryce Hampton getting interceptions. But when it comes to the defense as a whole, we have the pieces. We have the pieces to be a dominant shutdown defense. We just have to show it. We just have to close out games. We just have to play together like we've done at the very beginning of the season and ending the season. We've ended this season with back-to-back wins going into the playoffs. So we're ready. The Vegas Nighthawks are ready. The real Kaká are ready. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and the Nighthawks franchise is interesting because the owner is Bill Foley. Of course, he's also the owners of the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and I think a few other ones. Because I have to explain what Lee's Family Forum is actually designed for specific teams, which one of them was for the Nighthawks. And unfortunately, I think a
It's
G League
actually
team,
for the Silver Knights. It's for the Silver
the American
Knights,
Hockey League team. Yeah.
the Henderson Silver Knights, the Vegas Thrill Professional Volleyball Federation team, which is our women's pro volleyball team. The Las Vegas Desert Dogs NLL National Lacrosse League team will be starting to play at Lee's Family Forum next season. We also have the Nighthawks that play at Lee's Family Forum as well. So there's literally 4 teams in our city that play at Lee's Family Forum.
Yeah, though, if I read correctly, of course that means something better because the G League team that played there is no longer playing. But I think that there's something better
Yeah,
coming
the
in the
Ignite.
horizon, I believe, for that
Yes,
reason.
but they're not going to be at Lee's Family Forum.
Okay, I got you.
I've stated this on my show as well, but I'll go ahead and let everyone know here. There is a $10 billion casino, resort, hotel, and arena being built on the north end of the strip out here in Las Vegas. And we believe it is to entice the NBA to bring a NBA team to Las Vegas, an expansion team.
And I'm pretty sure that's going to happen because every other major franchise, major pro sports league is going in there. And honestly, I would not that franchise. And then honestly, for anyone wondering, the other one, because we know how expansions go, it's go by 2.
Right.
I don't know why, even though this is outside, I don't know why the commissioner was saying something
Seattle.
about Mexico City. It's going to be Seattle. The Super Sox are coming back. There ain't
The
no way.
Supersonics are coming back. Thank you, Will.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm sorry. You make more money with Seattle than, I'm sorry, Mexico City. I think a lot of players will be
Right.
like, we kind of want to stay away from the cartels that are near that area and actually go up there. So there's just more
Stay
money.
away from the international teams coming to the NBA because it's not the International Basketball Association; it's the National Basketball Association. So it wouldn't be right to have an expansion team in the National Basketball Association in Canada or Mexico. Sorry, it just wouldn't work and it wouldn't make any sense. But to add a Vegas football team into the NFL was one of the smartest things they could have done. I know it was years. I wish it was an expansion team. I understand why it's not an expansion team because then you would have to have at least 4 to 8 more teams, or 3 to 7 more teams, because you would need to add either 4 teams, so where you'd have 2 in each conference, but then it would still make the conferences uneven. So you'd have to literally add 8 teams into the NFL if you were to add an expansion team to Vegas instead of moving the Oakland Raiders here.
Yeah, and Raiders is that brand that, honestly, if you move them anywhere to work in Vegas, it just works for that brand.
It works.
And I do know with the indoor football league, because they have been slowly expanding, because they had the Jacksonville Sharks this year. I think it was kind of good success for expansion, like all that stuff.
Yeah, even the San Antonio Gunslingers, this was their first season, and they did pretty well this season. I believe they ended with a 7-8 record, if I'm not mistaken, or 8-8 record. It's one of the two.
I believe Rick Rockers would know. He actually goes to the games. I know that.
Right.
And also congratulations for someone we had on the Field Sports Network, Lacoby Tucker, who also played for the San Antonio Gunslingers. So had a good
Yes,
first season.
sir.
Maybe we'll see him in a different league or it's the same league because I know the Indoor Football League, they're supposed to expand another team next year that was actually technically not new, but more of a bringing back one.
Right.
But
And I heard they're
though
bringing in 2 more teams next season.
So, yeah, and just a reminder when it comes to arena football space, because the leagues are merging and decreasing. Because, like I said with Zach Hillman a few weeks ago, the National Arena League is merging with the AIF with their 3 teams. They have 9,
Mm.
but they're going to expand, and then I'll talk a little bit later because it looks like the Arena Football League, which shockingly going to have a second season and they're going to be interviewing for new teams. We'll see. I'm being precautious here. That's their plan. We'll
Okay.
see. With
Right.
any type of expansion with any league, it's just like we'll wait and see. I guess like I just want to go with the picks of the playoff here games for the IFL course. We'll start with the Vegas and Arizona Rattlers, and just remember, Arizona Rattlers, of course, is one of the more famous franchises in the football world,
Yeah, they are.
and they play, of course, on Saturday night. Of course, it's 9:05. It's 9:05 Central here, but at 7:05 West Coast time, and I have to go with the Nighthawks, of course, with their quarterback that's both good with their throwing and rushing because I believe he had 5. Was it the 5 rushing touchdowns the game
Mhm.
before that with Jerome Johnson?
Yeah, and a couple games before that, he had 8 total touchdowns, 4 rushing and 4 passing. So, and he just recently won Offensive Player of the Week. He's won that multiple times this season. We've had defensive players win Defensive Player of the Week this season as well. We've had one player, Malik Hausman, win Defensive Player of the Week twice this year, for sure. I know that. So we have a really good squad. I have to go with Vegas. I cannot go against them. I have to go to Vegas.
And
Who's
then
next?
the second game for the West, and it's kind of interesting. It originally, because I have to say, it's the Bay Area Panthers. Marshawn wanted to play in Oakland, but unfortunately, they couldn't get that deal done. But they, as you say, they play in
Right.
San Jose, and they face, of course, another team that I kind of put Bay Area, put like Oakland in there. You kind of have to face the San Diego Strike, 2 teams that used to have NFL teams in a way.
Yeah.
So, and that,
The Strike Force, I think it's going to be I think this is going to be a different game than what we've seen between these 2 teams early in the season. I think this is actually going to be a more um, hard-nosed game, a closer game, and it's up in the air in my opinion. Bay Area could pull away at the end and win the game, but I think San Diego also has an opportunity to win and actually come home with a victory and upset the defending champions.
yeah, I looked at this. It's like I kind of agree with you. It's kind of like a coin flip because of how these two play each
Yeah.
other. And
Right.
honestly, because honestly, I think you guys prefer if the Strike Force won because then the Western Conference Championship would be held in Vegas. So I don't know.
Yep.
I'll go with the upset so that way the championship game plays in Las Vegas, get an extra home there, and then you guys will be able to do back to back to back home games. Don't have to go anywhere.
Exactly. We'll have home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs if this scenario works out to where Vegas wins at home against Arizona, San Diego wins against Bay Area in San Jose, which is oddly enough, it's like a home game for them. That's why I feel they can come up with the upset because they're playing in San Jose, which is like a home game for them. So I think we get the San Diego Strike Force versus Vegas Nighthawks in the Western Conference Finals or semifinals, yeah, well, finals, and we get Vegas moving on to the national championship. I really think we can beat both Arizona and San Diego again and make our way to hosting and being the first franchise to host an IFL championship game. I believe we can do it.
Yeah, and that game is actually on Sunday. Next, we'll go with the
Yes.
Easter Conference, and the first game is on Friday night. You got the #1 team Green Bay Blizzard against the Quad City Steamwheelers. I'm sorry, the Blizzard's going to win. With this,
Blizzard's gonna destroy them. They're gonna freeze the steam wheelers, and they're gonna put all that steam out with that ice cold blizzard. They're gonna destroy them, in my opinion.
and
I'm sorry.
and a reminder: Green Bay Blizzard is also a known franchise. They actually were famous in the AFL 2 league before they
Yes.
became a little bit later. And then the second one, though, Massachusetts
And hold on,
Pirates.
before we go into
Yeah,
that game, have you noticed how good Green Bay has been this season?
I
They
have you.
clinched a playoff spot and home field advantage before anyone else in the IFL.
Yeah,
Anyone.
and
They've
I
been
can't
a
remember.
blizzard the whole season.
Yeah, it's like when I saw that, I'm like, when was the last time in the IFL did that? Because the IFL, people forget, it's actually a pretty league that's lasted for over 2 decades. Heck, St. Louis they were part of the early days when they had a team called the St. Louis Renegades. And
Hmm.
it's just like, it was just like, when I heard like, hey, a team got clinched, I'm like, what the, already?
Yeah. And it was Green Bay out of all teams. And
Yeah,
Vegas was on a 7-0 streak to start the season before we started having our ups and downs. And Bay Area ended up taking over that #1 spot in the Western Conference. And Green Bay just kept running away with the #1 spot in the entire league, finishing with the best record in the league in the regular season. So
yeah,
it's
of
going to be
course.
interesting. But Green Bay is going to destroy Quad City.
Yeah, of course, we already know the football fans are very crazy in Green Bay, and I
Hmm.
know Green Bay's aren't because they just had Monday Night Raw in that arena last night, so they're
Yeah, and it
they're
was
probably putting
electric.
down the turf and getting all that done for Friday night. And
Yeah.
then the last one, this one's a tough one because you got one of the more famous franchises, the Massachusetts Pirates against the
Hmm.
Frisco Fighters. This one to
Whew.
me is like even it's like it can go either way. It's just like
I think if TJ Edwards is playing for Frisco, I think Frisco wins this game. I honestly think Frisco wins. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a very competitive game, but I think Frisco pulls out the late victory. I think it's going to take till the end of the game, and it's going to be back and forth. But I think Frisco edges out the victory. I wouldn't be surprised if Massachusetts won though, and if there's no TJ Edwards, I think Massachusetts wins this outright.
I think we'll find
So
out.
there's some factors.
We'll find out if Edward's status. I'm trying to remember like how like recent their injury reports are, but we'll either find out hopefully by Thursday. Actually, I prefer hopefully by Wednesday. But dear Lord,
Yeah, I do
and
too.
honestly, honestly, it's going to be either because we're going to say that either like it's going to be Green Bay on the east side that's going to the championship, unless some
Yeah.
weird type of situation happens with like us. I just don't see how they want to beat Green Bay in the Eastern
Well,
Conference.
I think Frisco can beat them because I think if I'm not mistaken, I'll go back and look, but I think Frisco could beat them in the regular season. I think that's one of the losses Green Bay had, but I think Frisco could beat them if Frisco made it to the championship, or not the championship, excuse me, but
Conference.
the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they could have a chance against Green Bay. I really do. They are a very competitive team. You got to remember if we're not mistaken, it was Bay Area and the Frisco Fighters in the IFL National Championship game last year. So they're not a bad team. And TJ Edwards was that starting quarterback for Frisco who led them to the IFL Championship game last year. And yeah, they came up short against Bay Area, but they were in the game. So I think that, having a good amount of players coming back for Frisco, if they make it to the conference finals in the East, I think they have a chance against Green Bay. I really do.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend with the IFL playoffs, and I believe
Yes, it
like I
is.
haven't seen any other. I think they're going to be all on YouTube, but of course with the local, you're going to if there's some local broadcasted, I wouldn't doubt it
Hmm.
since it's playoff football. So I
Yes,
you
in
run
Vegas. you can watch it on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, which is 5.2 on digital and 125 on Cox Cable.
Yeah, and
There you go.
and honestly, like out of all the games, that because the two ones that are probably marked here is probably both the Western games. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I think the
sorry.
Eastern games are runaways. Not so much with Frisco and Massachusetts, but we all know what Green Bay is going to do to Quad.
Because
We know what Green Bay is going to do to Quad
Quad
City.
City had some trouble with the Jacksonville Sharks. I can't remember which game, and I was like, uh-oh. So thanks,
Quad
Kevin,
City's had
for
some trouble with a few games. They've had some trouble with a few games this regular season. They are lucky to make the playoffs. I got to be 100% honest with you. They are lucky to have made the playoffs.
yeah.
But
Yeah, it's going to be interesting the next 3 weeks, and hopefully we'll see the Vegas Nighthawks hosting and also winning the IFL Championship here in the next few weeks. And I'll be sure to have you on for that if that happens, and I'll say it's a high probability of that. But thank
yes,
you,
sir.
Kevin, for coming on. And just a reminder, Kevin,
No
on here on the
problem,
Few
man.
Sports Network for Jersey the King show. And be
As
sure to
well
catch this show.
as the Gridiron on Saturdays. You can catch the Jersey the King show on Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern, and the Gridiron at 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. There you go.
Yeah.
You can check me out on social media as well at the JTK show on most places, or JTK show. It's either the JTK show, THE JTK show, or JTK show. Or you can follow my personal Facebook page as my name, Kevin Womble Jr.
Mm-hmm. And thank you, Mr. Wumble. And like I said, hopefully good luck for the Nighthawks. Are you going to be covering the game this Saturday?
Yes, I will be at this game this Saturday, and I may have a player on Thursday on the Jersey the King show. I may have one of the players on. I've had two of them on this season. Antonio Winbush, our running back, as well as James Caesar, one of the rookie cornerbacks, and one of the leaders of the IFL in interceptions this season, behind teammate Bryce Hampton. But yeah, so we might have a guest on trying to work things out now. But I'll see you guys on Thursday. And thank you for having me, Will. I greatly appreciate it, man.
No problem, man. I'll be sure to have you. I'm definitely going to have you back on in the future. Those of us here in the Field Sports Network, and can't wait because we got some things coming up later on here in the Field Sports Network, and be sure to catch on with us. And it's going to be good. Going to take a little break here and be right back.
Peace out, guys.
Houston, we've triumphed. I've made it back to Earth with the cargo intact. The game-changing, time-sensitive payload is none other than the revolutionary energy flavor we've all been waiting for. Introducing Merc Mayhem Cherry Limeade. Merc Clan played a crucial role in securing this energy flavor, and together we've unlocked the future of power. Merc Mayhem is not just a drink, it's a statement, a fusion of relentless energy and bold flavor. The secret is out. Merc Mayhem is set to redefine the energy landscape, leaving ordinary drinks in its cosmic dust. Get ready for a taste explosion that matches Merc Clan's unparalleled power. Join the revolution, and let's unleash Merc Mayhem upon the world. Astronaut M signing off.
Same great taste. Yes, same great taste. Same great taste.
It's time I get in the game, forget the money and fame. Stay ready, making sure that they'll remember my name. I got a hunger inside when the numbers are tied. Yo, I'ma turn it up a level, never will be denied.
Welcome back. It was great to talk to Kevin about the indoor football league. Be sure to check those games here this weekend. Of course, I have to mention this because it's going to be an interesting weekend with the start of the Olympics. Now let's get back to the Arena Football League here. Who would have thought, with all the turmoil that has happened in the beginning of the season, we finally be able to get to Arena Bowl 33? Here, played at East Rutherford, New Jersey, at the American Dream, a shopping mall on CBS Sports Network. Because honestly, what happened in the beginning, you would have thought that this would have shut down and like ended kind of simple to like the AAF, other alternative football leagues, and not to mention there was a few other arena teams and few other leagues that just went away and shut down. But it was glad this to happen, and honestly, this went way better than I thought. Of course, I do have to mention there was a report going around that maybe they wouldn't be able to play it this weekend, but it looks like they were able to. I don't know if it was true or not, because believe it or not, when it comes to reporting with sources here, sometimes you can get it right and it could be in between. But let's back to the Arena Bowl 33 between the Albany Firebirds and the Billing Outlaws. And I was actually quite surprised of how both fan bases, how loud they were. I was surprised mostly by the Billings because the distance between Eastern Rutherford, New Jersey from Montana, and then from Albany from New Jersey, it ain't that far. And it was a great game. And it was started out as a defensive game first in the first quarter because it was 0-3. And it was just, I was just glad how this game was, and especially how the American Dream, the area for how the game was played at CBS Sports Network. And the nettings you saw was a little bit more narrow, just how it's designed, because it is designed on a hockey rink where, of course, most arena football leagues have played and play in hockey arenas, of course, in the past. So it did fit and stuff, and it was just packed. Kind of looked similar to, for those people in my age bracket, kind of like what happened with the first Monday Night Nitro at the America's Greatest Mall in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It kind of reminded me of that, and it was just a very good atmosphere. And like I said, first quarter 0-3 Billings, and then it got back to going back and forth for the second quarter. Albany scored 13 and Billings scored 14. Third quarter, this is another game where both teams scored the same amount of points, and that happened in the last two playoff games last week, 16-16. And then it just came down to the wire with the Billings Outlaws beating the Albany Firebirds 46-41. And it was like interesting because I said that my prediction was the Albany Firebird because of the whole situation with Tony Brody would be a good story. But then again, it was also a good story for the Billings Outlaws. Because for that small of a franchise in a small market to win the Arena Bowl 33, it was a good end to storyline. The stats here, of course, for Albany, you got the quarterback Jake, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushing Malik with 2 touchdowns, and then receiving, of course, you got Townsend for 1 touchdown, and Darius Prince, who they haven't announced the MVP yet for the league. I would expect him, he got 80 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, when it comes to the Billings, because they announced the game MVP, which I was a little bit surprised because it actually shouldn't have gone to who it should have been. Isaac Hawker, 184 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, won the MVP. But honestly, the MVP to me and a few others should have been gone to wide receiver Dwayne Brown. He was the main reason that Billings won the Arena Bowl 33. 125 receiving yards and all the offensive touchdowns, the passing touchdowns, because there was one rushing touchdown by Hunter Savoa for 1 touchdown. So I was just shocked that Harker got the MVP and not Brown. And I was just glad that this was just a good ending to what happened in Arena Football League. And of course, we did get to hear some announcements from the Arena Football League. Now, it has been confirmed that that Jeff Fisher is no longer the interim commissioner. He is now the full-on commissioner. So that good success in the future will have a good stability because, dear Lord, what Lee Hutton did to this league, and don't even get me started with his wife, what she did to the Minnesota team franchise for there. It was just not a good look. And here was one thing that Jeff Fisher said for what's looking forward to season 2025.
The time of year where all the fans always want to know, so what's it going to look like next season? I'm not asking you to put anything in writing, but what is your vision? Do you have an idea of how many teams or what it's going to look like next season?
You know, at this point, I can't say specifically, but we're going to vet, we're going to interview, we're going to put things together, we're going to have a plan, a long-term plan, long-term goals, and again, I got to go back to thank you guys and CBS so much for this opportunity.
Well, it's been amazing. We really appreciate you spending time with us, but we're gonna be selfish here. We want to keep you for the opening drive of the third quarter.
So yeah, they're going to be vetting for new teams because remember they ended with 8 but started with 16, and we already know of one team that has been confirmed for 2025, which is the Arizona Bandits. Now, the Chicago Rush, that was supposed to be the original plan, I have no idea because the count for any social medias for that team has been dormant for a while. The Arizona Bandits ones have been, talking about all the games and stuff, so it's kind of interesting. And you see how Jeff Fisher meant proper vetting and interviewing. Because, remember, there were some teams that were done because the owners, and I'll say this is mostly Lee Hutton's fault because he said he did all the vetting and all this stuff, and also Terrell Gaines, but it didn't happen good for a lot of the owners. There were some owners I will not put blame for ending, though. I don't know, the West Texas Desert Hawks, I still kind of have some questions with that one due to the fact of the whole lawsuit with the National Arena League and so on and so forth. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Arena Football League here in the next few months. Now, one thing that was announced, because it looks they are going to continue having a partnership with CBS Sports Network. So they do still have a TV deal with them for the 2025 season. Question is, because remember, they were supposed to have a deal with the NFL Network. Well, they did, but it was, come find out, it was very one-sided, which was Lee Hutton's doing. And so we'll actually have some games on national broadcast, but on CBS Sports Network. And I will say CBS Sports Network has become a hotbed of broadcasting on alternative football leagues. Because they had the Arena Football League. They also are at least the American home of the CFL for each week of having their games on there. So I like that CBS is kind of getting that tradition there, kind of wondering if they might try to get some gains from Elf over in the next few years, but we'll see. Now let's get to the Arena League. And it was kind of, because remember, the Arena League, only 4 teams, and they're basically just going for seeding right now because they start their playoffs actually a week after this, and it's kind of interesting that both the IFL and the Arena League actually are going to be ending at the exact same time. And last week, of course, they had the Lunkers go to Duluth. The Monsters beat the Lunkers 51-8, which pretty much changed a lot of things because that was the most important game because that was against 2 and the 3rd seed. And that changed, and I'll explain that here in a moment. The second game against the 1 and 4 seed here currently, and they're pretty much locked in. This is the number 1 and 4 seed, and the Goats beat the Iowa Woo 99-60. Yeah, I'll say that again. 99-60. They almost did a 3-digit score, and that would have been a first in a while for any arena league, and it would have been the first in the Arena League. And of course, now with the Kansas City Goats, they got 99. That's the highest score in their league's history right now. And right now, here are the standings for the Arena League going into now. This is the final week of their first regular season. As you see, KC 6-1, Iowa 1-6, so those are locked in. And then you got the Harbor Monsters, Ozark Lunkers fighting for 2-3. So the second seed is still technically up for grabs. And the final week, you have Duluth going to Iowa, and then Ozark and KC face each other in another battle of Missouri. And looks like KC's arena won't have any problems because the last time KC and Ozark faced each other, KC had to go to Ozark's arena because of something with their stadium flooring. It's still not quite clear what the heck happened there. So it's going to be kind of interesting because, like, if somehow Ozark beats KC and Iowa beats Duluth, then it's going to be like a simple of tiebreakers that gets the second seed and get the home game. And then also there was an announcement here that because the Arena League are going to have 2 new teams next year, and there has been a name given to the Eau Claire franchise in where was Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Okay, sorry, I remember there. And they're going to be called the Eau Claire Jammers. I don't have unfortunately couldn't find a logo until late and couldn't get it. It pretty much looks like a person dressed up kind of in a punk lumberjack with earphones. I'll show it up here in the next show, and it's not what I expected, of course, with the Arena League. They got like they're out of box thinking when it comes to logos, names, and all that stuff when it comes to this league. So when I think about these 2 games here, Duluth versus Iowa, I have to go with Duluth here because, I don't know, Iowa just doesn't seem like they're winning. And then Battle Missouri, like KC should win, but Ozark could pull it out here because Ozark is beating KC more than once. So it's going to be interesting for that. And those 2 games for the Arena League are both on YouTube at the exact same time, Saturday night at 7:05 Central Time. And just to go back with my picks with the IFL Playoffs, I had the Blizzard being the Quad City Steamwheelers. That game is on Friday night at 7:05 Central Time on YouTube. Massachusetts Pirates and the Frisco Fighters. That one, I'll go with the visiting Massachusetts Pirates. We'll see what happens there. That's on at Saturday night at 6:05 Central Standard Time. And then with the Vegas, I have the Vegas Nighthawks beating the Arizona Rattlers. That game is at 9:05 Central Standard Time on YouTube. And then the final game on Sunday, San Diego Strike Force and the Bay Area Panthers. I'm going with the upset of the San Diego Strike Force, and we'll see the Nighthawks host a conference championship game against San Diego. Hopefully that happens. And that is it for this week's Arena STL. Mostly going to be talking about the Arena League and in what happened in the Indoor Football League here next week, and then going to be having basically a championship game for the week after that here on Arena STL, and it's just going logger. Okay. Oh yeah, that's about the logger. Yeah, that's what I meant by for the Eclair team for the Arena League. Thank you, Chris. And thank you for going on the show. I did not expect what the show was going to be, especially with the whole thing that happened with the Arena Football League. And it'll be interesting to see. And also, when it comes to future teams, there is one that was very close last year. And I do know that they would like to have that city part of that league. So we'll see about that in the next few months. So thank you for joining me this evening, and see you all here next week. And be sure to check out all of our shows here on Fuel Sports Network. And Kevin will be hosting the Jersey King show here on Thursday. And we also have some shows going to be on here tomorrow night. And don't forget also this weekend with also the Gridiron show and a lot others here on the Fuel Sports Network. See you next week.